how can we differentiate you? How can we make you different from everyone else that's out there?
I saw a recent report on social media today that said that consumers' opinions of social media advertising is declining. But wait, here's where it gets kind of interesting. Their opinion of ads isn't declining because there's a lack of trust. That's actually what I thought it was going to be. It's because they're simply boring. They are just plain boring. So, what does it take to connect with your audience these days? I'm Ivana Taylor, and today we're going to talk about ads that work. And I'm here with my friend and content marketing expert. He is the host of Get Shit Done podcast and content marketing master, Jason Schemmel. Welcome.
Hey, Ivana, how are you doing today?
I am doing great. How are you?
I am fantastic. It's Monday. It's a sunny day outside. It's spring. I love it.
I love it. And right? Because we have beautiful spring temperatures. It's been a long time in coming here to Cleveland. How about where you are?
Oh, yeah. Well, Michigan, we just got hit with second winter. So we're glad that that's over.
Yes. Excellent. Excellent. You know, we're here to talk about ads that work because when you and I were chatting, we were talking about empathy in marketing. So what are some tips for turning up the volume on empathy in your marketing? And why is that so important these days?
Empathy in marketing is really the essential centerpiece for a successful ad campaign. Empathy is going to be the tool that allows you to take yourself out of your own personal hat, perspective, viewpoint, whatever it is you want to call it, and put yourself in the shoes of the people who you're serving these ads to. What's their perspective? What are their pain points? What are their needs? What do you want them to understand? What can you help them understand? Because it's really easy to, when you're creating your ad and you're building out the strategy for it, you've crafted this specific message that to you makes absolute perfect sense. Like I'm telling you about my product, my service, my brand. To me, this makes sense. But what a lot of people don't understand is that sometimes to that audience or that end user, it doesn't always translate that same way. So in utilizing empathy, you're able to take yourself out of that personal role of yours and put yourself in the shoes of them and say, okay, if I was this end user in this type of life situation or this experience, how am I going to receive this ad? What am I feeling when I see this ad? What's going to make me want to not only click it and convert on it, but what's going to make me want to share this with other people to help expand that thing grow? And so that's where I think empathy really plays a huge part into advertising. And we see it all the time. Just think the Super Bowl, for example, Burger King and their Whopper neutrality ad was a super popular ad because net neutrality was this huge, big topic that everyone's talking about. It has since died down substantially now, but during that time, everyone was talking about Ajit Pai and the whole net neutrality thing, but a lot of people didn't really understand what net neutrality meant. They had an idea of what it did, but they didn't understand exactly in layman's terms what that meant for them. So Whopper or Burger King, in their infinite wisdom, or the agency, whoever they used for it, showcased this entire process in Whopper form, what net neutrality was like, and show the frustrations of it. And instantly you saw Twitter light up with with the hashtag Whopper neutrality. A lot more people understood what net neutrality was. And that was just, in my mind, that was an excellent use of empathy because they were able to help people understand what this very hot topic was all about.
Well, I'm most interested. I think a lot of small business owners struggle with this idea of putting themselves in their customer's shoes. What tips do you have for sort of putting your customer hat on?
There's some ways you can go about it are just simply asking questions. If you're unsure about how someone might perceive an idea, a thought, or something like that, put the question out there. Just ask people, because who better to get feedback from than the people you're actually serving? So being able to do surveys, asking others around you, even asking other professionals. You could also hire an agency because they offer a great different perspective as to what you might be thinking. But going back to your original question, how can small businesses put on that customer hat? It's really just being able to take the time to sit back and just make yourself your own customer. So again, like I had said before, put yourself in their situation. What are their current life situations? What are they thinking? What are they feeling? How does this pertain to whatever it is that you're promoting with your ads? Why is it going to impact them? What is going to emotionally connect with them? Not just, hey, I have this product or I have this service, use us, buy us because we're better, we're cheaper than the other people. Like, okay, that's cookie cutter ad copy and all that stuff. That's not really going to resonate with someone. What you really want is what's going to stick with this person. What's going to make them stop scrolling through their Facebook feed, Twitter feed, Google, whatever, and say, that's exactly what I'm looking for.
Why do you think? I think that a lot of small business owners, frankly, are afraid, right? I think that there's a fear of putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
And there's a fear of getting your boss to approve what you want to do, because it's not just you're wanting to do it, it's getting your boss to approve it, perhaps, if you're in the marketing department of a company and the boss just says, go handle this thing. What could a marketer do? Or like one thing I was thinking of as you were talking about, oh my goodness, you could use social media to ask questions. You can reach out and do some customer not satisfaction surveys, but just speaking with customers, paying attention to trade shows, those kinds of things.
Yep.
But any ideas? Have you had to do this before? How did you get interested in this topic?
Oh yeah. So I've had to do this before. So I do some freelance work for other companies and clients and things like that, and help them build up their Facebook strategies and their advertising strategies. And a lot of them have kind of that same mindset where like I have an ad budget and I'm just going to talk about my product. Like, hey, we have this awesome service. We're high class. We're great. Use us because we're high class and we're reaching out to high class people. Like, okay, you have a product, you have a service, your prices are competitive with the market and things like that, but there's nothing that really makes you different than someone else. You're not really different than all of these other people who are in the same market doing essentially the exact same thing you are. So that's where I like coming in, because I love that challenge of how can we differentiate you? How can we make you different from everyone else that's out there? And the best way to do that, to really separate yourself from everyone else, is to connect, be human, show that your brand and your business is a living thing and that they understand their audience. So again, that's where empathy comes back in, where it's not just creating content and having ads that, that are just promoting and just saying, buy, buy our stuff and that kind of thing. It's more of we understand you. We understand you as the person. We understand your needs. We understand your wants. And not only can we help you solve those needs, we have products and services that can help you do that. And there's a TED Talk that will forever stick in my mind. It's one of the very popular ones out there from Simon Sinek, talking about his golden circle and his whole thing about why. And his one line that always stuck with me is, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And so once you can focus on that, what drives you as a business, what drives you as a brand, like why did you get into this? You didn't start a business to sell stuff. No one does that. They went into business. They went into this specific business because they love the food industry. They love marketing. They love advertising. They love connecting with people. That's really the whole underlining of like marketing agencies and things like that. They love connecting with people. So
got it.
That would be some of my advice.
No, I think that's terrific. And I think a lot of small businesses are afraid to put themselves out there because I don't think they've been through that process, because the things that you're talking about is taking some quiet time and thinking about why you do what you do, what it is that you believe and why you believe it, and how that can work towards your marketing message. Mm-hmm. Right? Do you have a process that you follow when you're working with brands to find that why?
Well, it's usually a series of several questions, and some of them are really in-depth and some of them are very basic. So when I'm on the phone with a client trying to get an understanding of what their business is about, regardless of how long they've been in business, one of the questions I always ask them is, what made you want to do this? What made you want to get started in the first place? What drove you and lit that fire inside you that says, I want to, especially for the business owners, the small business owners, like what made you want to leave that regular 9-to-5 job that everyone says go get once you're out of college and completely buck the system and go, I want to do my own thing? because a lot of people go into business to make money, because obviously that's the end goal, is making money, or else your business is going to die. But why did you pick this path? Why did you pick this business? Because you've obviously had some interest in it outside of there's money to be made. People see things on the surface for what they are. So if you're not able to convey that message, people aren't going to see it. I mean, an example I can think of is I used to have a client that was an insurance agent, and he had been in the insurance agency or the insurance industry for 20 years. He'd sold insurance, Medicare insurance, and now he wanted to kind of segue over into building a course to help other insurance agents market themselves to get more clients. And he had this whole PowerPoint presentation of just very, very specific things, detailing on how, like, what his process was to do that. But it wasn't, his whole advertising side of things was more of I have this course, go buy it. Like, okay, you say you've been in the industry for 20 years. That's great. You say you've made money. Okay, most people are going to say that. And this is how you can do that. But you're not actually touching on a pain point that's really going to make them feel, okay, this guy is solving a problem I have. So we were able to take that messaging of, I have this course, you should check this out and pay money for this type of thing, into more of hey, are you having trouble getting leads? Are you having trouble connecting or finding the people that you want to serve and help and help others get covered with Medicare insurance who may need it? This course can help you out through that. So it was in slowly changing that message, just little increments at a time. We were able to, shift his messaging over from buy my product to, are you struggling? We have something that can help you out. Come check us out.
That's terrific. That's terrific. Now, I thought it was really interesting when I saw that statistics that trust was not the major issue, because I kind of thought it would be.
Yeah, it was kind of surprising, wasn't it?
It was really surprising that when we see things in our Facebook stream, when we see advertisements, we now want to be entertained, and people are scrolling past things. And I thought, wow, whether it's on Twitter, I love your Whopper example. I don't know if you have any more, but like one of the things you do, give me some.
I have a few more examples. Yeah.
Terrific.
Yeah. So another ad that really stuck. So, well, first off, I'll talk to the whole ads being boring thing. You look at everyone now is online in some capacity, whether it's especially with social media. It feels like now, if you don't have a social media account, you basically don't exist. At least it feels that way. But because we're all very internet connected, whether it's on mobile, laptop, desktop, whatever, we see tons of ads, whether we realize it or not. Especially in our Twitter feed, we see something that pops up, and even I look at that and go, I don't follow that person. And then I look under, I'm like, oh, it's a promoted post. It's an advertisement. And I don't realize it at the time, but then I realize, I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to dismiss that and go away. But same thing on Facebook. Even though Zuckerberg says, like, we're trying to make it more interpersonal, more connections and stuff like that, you still see ad after ad after ad. I just think we've been subjected to so many advertisements and stuff. It's just natural to just scroll through it unless something sparks our interest. If there's not, and that's why images and video is such a huge thing right now, because, and especially with video, if you can't capture someone's attention within the first 3 seconds, you've completely lost them. Completely lost them.
And you would never see these ads, but the ones I see and I click every single time. Mm-hmm. I think these are brilliant. And I don't know, and I think it speaks to this empathy thing. Now, you would not see this. Maybe your wife would see these, right? But they are probably influencers, but they're women who are using a particular makeup product.
Okay.
And they have a video and they're using the product, whether it's magnetic lashes or like waterproof eye mascara or whatever it happens to be. Mm-hmm. But it's a real person doing something that I do every single day.
Yep.
And that captures my attention. Is that what you mean by empathy?
Yeah, because it's something that you can relate to.
Right.
Yeah, and there was so actually going along that line of the makeup video and stuff, there was a viral video maybe 2 or 3 months ago of this male news anchor putting on makeup as he's talking into the camera, doing a Facebook live feed for about half an hour. And he's sitting there talking about the different products that he's using as he must have used at least 6 or 7 different makeup products. I don't know. I don't wear makeup, so I wouldn't know. But the fact that Well, first off, that it was a guy doing this whole video on this thing. It immediately sparked interest. Like, what is this guy going to talk about? He's talking about the news. He's talking about his day. He's talking about the different products that he's applying to his face. You can kind of see the whole transformation from he looks like he just woke up in the morning to now it looks like he's been up for several hours and he's ready to get in front of the camera. But watching the comments in that feed, you just see so many people, men and women, just going, "That's so cool that he's doing this." You know, this isn't something you'd see every day. It wasn't even an ad. It was just a video that resonated with a lot of people going, "Oh my God, yes, it takes me so long to put on this makeup," or like, "Oh, I love that makeup brand that he's using. You know, I would highly recommend it," and all that stuff. So even just off of a viral video of a guy putting on his makeup in the morning for his job just created advertising opportunities for 6 or 7 different companies.
And you've got me thinking that I think one of the obstacles that people have is they think it has to be perfect right out of the park. Like you have to have this most beautiful thing that's going to go immediately. And I think the true answer to that is you have to try a lot of different things.
There's a lot of trial and error. And that's why as a marketer, I'm a fan of A/B testing, but I refer to that as always be testing.
Yes.
So in the ads that I create, I love creating at least a few at a time, always a handful at a time, and always testing and constantly improving upon it, because there's no such thing as the perfect ad. You know, you look at, even just look at Instagram and the influencers that are out there. They post several, you know, hundreds and thousands of pictures all the time, and they might only have a very small percentage of those take off. And that's what led to their huge following now, where, you know, they pump out more pictures and they get more engagement and stuff like that off of it. But there was a time where they're putting out all of this content and just trying to find out what sticks. What do people like? Are there similarities? Are there trends that we can follow? And it's the same thing with ads. Whether it's a video ad or an image ad or just a text ad, you know, regardless of what it is, you have to constantly be testing it, because even if it's perfect in your eyes, again, utilizing empathy and everything, you have to make sure that it's perfect in your customer's eyes. But then not only that, it has to be perfect in the algorithm's eyes of the medium that you're going through. So even if it does resonate with people on Facebook, YouTube, Google, wherever, if Facebook suddenly decides, you know, hey, we don't think this is working as well, it's not going to get served as often, and you're not going to see as much return on it. You're not going to see as many conversions. Your costs for the ads are going to skyrocket. So that's why you always have to constantly be testing, figure out what works.
All right. So to wrap this puppy up, give our listeners and watchers some handy tips or resources where if they're saying, definitely want to do this empathy thing, where do I begin?
Oh my gosh. As far as resources and things to do, well, if you're looking for really data-backed research on how to really get in touch with your audiences, there's 2 companies who have blogs that are actually now 3 companies that are that have blogs that are just chock full of information on how to really connect with your customer and your audience, and even goes beyond that. They cover a whole lot of other different things, but there's 3 companies that always come to mind when I think of these are the people I go to learn about how I can better connect with people. And there's a lot of data and very qualified research behind it. And that's the Content Marketing Institute, Express Writers, and Orbit Media.
3 of my favorite sources. And not only are they great resources for content, they have what I would call swipeable content. And this is what I mean by that. One of my favorite things to do is actually, I go to Andy Crestodina all the time. I love Orbit.
Love Andy. He is amazing.
He's so great. And actually what I love to do is just go to his blog and see what the article titles are. And just look and see how those posts are written and, you know, how he puts that information together. Mm-hmm. Even though I'm writing on something completely different, you can absolutely learn a lot by just simply mimicking. And honestly, I'm going to share my hack. My hack is I will go and find an article that I like. And I like BuzzSumo as well, is really terrific for this. You find articles that you like that have been shared a lot. I write that title in a document, and then I do iterations, changing.
Oh, just the small tweaks here and there.
Changing. It may not be on any, it could be about horses and buggies for all I care. If it's a great headline, I like to mess around with it and see what I can create with that. So those are like really, really terrific resources. My God, Jason, it's time to head over to the Twitter chat. Thank you so much
let's do it.
for being here.
I love a good Twitter chat.
Love a good Twitter chat.